RBS, are we going to have some good news soon?
Not for at least another year. They're forecasting another year of losses in the year to come, and that will make a decade of loss making at the bank. And then after that, they might return to profitability. They might be able to pay a dividend again, but all of that is still uncertain, up in the air. They're having to deepen their cost-cutting program. They've still got a potentially enormous litigation charge in the US to settle toxic mortgage bond sales before the crisis. So they're really not out of the woods yet.
Okay, so why has that been so tough? Again, I'm looking at your story. It's the 9th straight annual loss. Will people lose their jobs over this?
They are deepening a cost-cutting program, and whenever you see that, you inevitably think job cuts as well. They refuse to identify a number today, but you have to think it's occupying a lot of the board's time.
Yep.
Where are they going to cut? They talk a lot about technology, taking people out of the business that way, but really they have been shrinking enormously since. So, I mean, it's difficult to see where they can take costs and people out of the business without affecting the revenue line even more.
Let's bring up the chart here, Stephen. It is not a pretty chart, folks. It's basically like Citigroup, but worse. Here we go, the RBS Bloom. Obviously, this is 07, 08, and they've gone nowhere. Stephen, let me ask the ugly question. What are we waiting for? When do these dogs merge, combine, transactions, whatever you want to call it? Forget about all the modern MBA baloney. When do they get put out of their misery?
Well, that's a good question, Tom. I'm not sure it's going to be anytime soon yet. Remember, RBS is still a taxpayer-owned bank, and it really affects the sentiment for the entire industry. Until RBS can be returned to private ownership, we're really not going to see UK banks seen in a positive light by the public. No one is going to want to buy RBS at the moment with all the misconduct issues hanging over its head, the lack of profitability, the lack of a dividend. So I'm afraid we're going to be reporting on this same story for at least another year.